Today I have an art lesson for you, and it has to do with space, how space is used in art and how we can use space in our own art. So first, I want to tell you about what space is when we're talking about art. It's the emptiness between, around, above, below, and within objects or forms. So if we take a look at this painting, we can see that there is space between this little boy and these cats. There's space around him. There's space above him. There's space below him. And there's even space within him. He takes up space. Now, there are different kinds of space that we can see in artwork. We could have positive space, which is space that an image takes up. So back to this painting of the little boy. His image is an object that takes up space. So he is making up the positive space. But we can also have negative space, the space around and between an image. So this background here is the negative space. It's the space in the painting that doesn't have to do with the main image. Other kinds of space that we can look at in artwork are symmetrical space, which means there's an equal balance on the left and right side. In this painting, there's an equal balance on the left and the right side. It's not exactly equal, but it's pretty equal. And so we would say that this painting has symmetrical space. But you can also have asymmetrical space, where there's no visual balance on both sides. Like in this painting. You can see the images here, and this nice open space on this side. But this space is not the same on the left and right side. The space is asymmetrical because there's more on one side than there is on the other. Let's take a close look at those words, symmetrical and asymmetrical. These are basically the same words, but the only difference is that A. Look what happens when I cover it up. That A makes the rest of this word the opposite meaning. So symmetrical means it's balanced, asymmetrical means it's not balanced. The last two types of space I wanted to tell you about were two-dimensional and three-dimensional. Now, think about the difference between our 100 square and our thousands cube. Here we have two dimensions, width and height. With our 1,000 square, we have width, height, but we have a third dimension, depth. See how this goes back? Two-dimensional, three-dimensional. When we are considering art, we can also have two-dimensional, width, height, no depth. And we can have three-dimensional art, width, height, and depth. Three-dimensional art is typically sculptures or statues, and two-dimensional art is typically paintings or drawings or photography. But there's something really interesting about these two-dimensional artworks that I want you to think about. Does this look two-dimensional when you see it? You already know that it is, that it doesn't have depth. But doesn't it seem like these guys are further back from this ballerina? Doesn't it look like there's some depth in this painting? That's because of the size and the space. Look at how big this ballerina is and how small those guys are in the back. And notice this space here between the ballerina and the men in the back. That space and the difference in size make this two-dimensional painting look like it's three-dimensional, like there's actually some depth in it. Isn't that fascinating? So I've told you about what space is, and I've told you about the different kinds of space that you can see in art. Now I want to show you an art experiment that we can do about space. So, with your blank piece of paper and your marker or your pen, you'll be ready to start our art experiment. Remember, the art experiment just means that we're experimenting. So what we make isn't going to be perfect because we're just kind of trying it out for the first time. Now, I have this to protect my table. You might have a plastic placemat or something else to protect your table from getting any ink on it. Okay, fold your paper long side to long side, and then just very gently crease it. Don't make a very hard crease, but just gently, so that when you open it up, it's easy to see a straight line here. Now you'll take your marker or your pen, and as straight as you can without using a ruler, draw a line through that light crease that you made. Now, just to the side of that line, draw another line close to it that's as parallel as you can make it, so that you'll have two lines very close together to each other, parallel, going all the way from the short side to the opposite short side, like this. Now, using 3 fingers as your measuring tool, we're going to measure 3 fingers from the top of your page. After your 3 fingers, you're going to put a dot on the side of one of your lines. Then, using your 3 fingers again as your measuring tool, put them underneath your dot that you made, and you're going to make a dot on the other side of your 2 lines, like this. And you'll keep going down the parallel lines, alternating on either side. Alternating means going from one side to the other and then back again. Now, you'll take your eyes and imagine a line being drawn from those 2 center lines to the side of your paper, to the edge. That's where you're going to put another dot on the same side as the 2 parallel lines. We're going to do the same with this dot, but we're going to keep on this same side as the dot is. We'll imagine a line going off to the side with our eyes, and then we'll place a dot where we think that line would end on the edge of our paper. Then we'll continue doing this all the way down with each of our dots, drawing imaginary lines with our eyes and putting dots right across on the edge of our paper from those dots that are on the parallel lines. Once you have all of your dots finished, each dot on the parallel line has one across from it on the edge. You're going to connect those dots with a curved line that goes up and a curved line that goes down. And then on the other side with a curved line that goes up and a curved line that goes down. Can you tell what we're making now? Continue connecting these dots with two curved lines, trying to make them about the same size. You can see this third one I made is a little bit flatter on top. So if you make mistakes like that, it's okay. Remember, this is just an art experiment. A curved line on top, and a curved line on bottom, a curved line on top, and a curved line on bottom. I bet you can tell what it is now. It's a vine with leaves. Now yours might have more leaves than mine. Can you think of why that might be? But what does this have to do with space, you may be asking yourself? Well, here we can see within this leaf positive space. This is the image on our drawing. And here we can see negative space, the space that's in between the images. You're going to choose one side where you're going to do designs on the inside of the positive space, and another side where you will do designs in the negative space. You're going to think of a pattern that you can do kind of easily. So I'm going to do, I think, wavy lines, solid wavy lines, and dotted wavy lines. And on one side you're going to put your pattern inside of the positive space, and on the other you'll put it inside of the negative space. So let me do a demonstration of what I mean. I'm only filling up this positive space with my pattern on this side. Then on this side of this stem, I'm going to fill the pattern in the negative space. Choose a pattern that you can recreate easily so that the pattern looks the same on both sides each time that you do it. And I'm going to keep going until I fill up all of this negative space. Now I have this top part to do until I get up to the first leaf. Because I'm only doing the negative space on this side. So I'm getting really close to my leaf, and I have to make my pattern and then stop making it for a little bit because I don't want it to go up into my leaf, and then I can make it again over here on this side. So it looks like the background has this pattern and that the leaf is just laying nicely on top of it. Okay, I'm going to stop here, but you can keep going. So your leaves on one side will have the pattern in it, and then on the other side, only the negative space will have the same exact pattern in it. I'll finish mine off the video and put it as an attachment with the lesson. I can't wait to see what pattern you choose and to see how you filled up your negative and positive space on your art experiment. Thank you.